And welcome, Belief Heroes. And welcome, Belief Heroes. Awesome. It is good to see everybody for the Belief Hero, our Be Bold Hour. Super excited for everyone to be here. We've got some fun stuff tonight. I am super excited. You know, one of the things about embracing embracing failure is a way of looking at things and going, hey, you know, if I look at this, finally, gonna make sure we have sound tonight. Made that mistake last week. So we're gonna look at failure. We're gonna look at square in the eye, and then we're gonna embrace the change that looking at failure can bring us. Kind of a reverse psychology, but a proven process. And I'm gonna read to you kind of some descriptions, and we're gonna kind of philosophically dive into that. What does that mean? How can we use looking at failure as a way of embracing change? Or how can we look at failure and even see change? Or how can we look at failure and then think positively about ourselves? We're going to cover all that. That's going to be part one. And then part two, we're going to tie in two terms with that as a way of looking at our goals and looking at ourselves, maybe where we get stuck in thinking too much about something, or maybe not thinking enough about something and getting stuck. All these places we can get stuck, and it's this balancing act. This is this tightrope of finding the middle to create change in our lives, embrace new things, go after new goals, go after new things, maybe even set a new trajectory for our life, building different friendships, renewing relationships, building better relationships. All of those things are really a tightrope of multiple facets. And so tonight, like I said, we're going to focus on looking at the negative to embrace change. I'm going to look it up here. Again, just a little bit ahead of myself. Super excited about this. We have a book club starting next week. I'm super excited about that. It'll be on Twitter. It'll be in Twitter Spaces. And we have a men's accountability group starting. So I'm excited about both of those. The men's accountability group will be on Facebook, and the book club will be live on Twitter Spaces starting next week. So go to Twitter, check that out at The Belief Hero for Twitter, Facebook at The Belief Hero for the men's accountability group. Good stuff on both of those. So a little bit of housekeeping there. And where are we at? Just a bit of housekeeping here. I made a mistake and I did not. Oh man. You know, one of those moments where you reboot your computer right before you start, and then somehow you just make a mistake. And you kind of want to get frustrated. You kind of want to get upset. But there is absolutely nothing you can do about it when it is live. You made the mistake. Man, that's a bummer. Oh, man. When I reboot my computer, I lost all of my search. My search history doesn't even show what I searched earlier. Oh, man. I've got everything here. Led Zeppelin tribute bands, but I do not have what I'm supposed to have. Oh. Right before I started, it went live. My computer went down. And I had something planned. And it was really, really important. And I guess I thought it was pulled back up before we started. And then I panicked. And then I lost my, and then I lost. Oh, it's really important. There it is. Oh, saved. All right. Oh, not trying to let the perfectionist in me lose my mind. I want you to be introduced to this term of radical acceptance. Now, there's a whole list of ways that radical acceptance is used, okay, in relationships and those things. And radical acceptance is kind of an idea. It isn't kind of an idea. It is the idea and the procedure of accepting where life really is. Okay, so I'm going to read to you the definition. Okay, that's what's important about this. I'm going to read to you. I cannot believe that. Radical acceptance. I completely blanked on what it was in my nervousness. So radically accepting or radical acceptance is to completely recognize and accept the reality that you're in, even when that reality includes pain or discomfort. So in a psychology sense, in a relationship sense, this would mean maybe just coming to a full radical acceptance of maybe your spouse is an alcoholic, a family member is an alcoholic. I'm just using that because it's really easy for everyone to understand. And there's a myriad of ways that you can use this in relationships. Most of them revolve around pain and trauma, okay? I want to use it in this episode. I want to use this term to talk about recognizing and accepting the reality of possibly a discomfort or a painful experience and an outcome. In other words, what if you would fail? So I'm going to give you this example of how I want to use it because I think it's really, really beneficial. I know it's beneficial. My son, Jacob, is running cross country, okay? And when I sit down and talk to him about racing and running, this is his first year running cross country. When I sit down and I talk to him about that, one of the ways of not getting sucked into the emotional components of winning or losing is thinking through what it's going to look like when you possibly lose. So let's say he's running an important race and he gets to a place where maybe he trips, maybe he falls, maybe somebody shoves him off course, he rolls his ankle. There's a myriad of things, right? I've used it twice now. There are just a bunch of things or ways that this can play out that could lead him to a situation in mid-race where his emotions get heightened. That's using energy. All those things use energy. The thought, thinking through a situation, all use energy that you can't then use for running. It's a big deal. So I had him come to the office. He's sitting right where you're at right now, right behind the camera. He's sitting right there. And I'm like, okay, tell me what happens. He has an important race coming up. Tell me what it's going to feel like if you don't do well. And what's his immediate response? Same as everyone's. It's not an option. Now that's perfect. You got to have that attitude. Okay. What if the unforeseen happens? They don't have a hole marked in the running course and you fall, you trip, you roll your ankle. Now you can't hold the time, like a physical injury. What's going to first thing that hit your mind? What was the first thing he said? Bam, I've let my team down. Boom, I've let myself down. Boom, I've let you down. Boom, I'm frustrated. That's not possible. And you could see, and it was just short, and I'm just talking to him as a dad, so it's not like this big, prolific conversation. But you could see him kind of like, when that can't happen. And you could see this wall or this gap of what's possible, but what he couldn't accept as a possibility. And in that area is a place where we can evaluate those emotions before they happen, before we get there. So I just simply said, working through this idea of radical acceptance, and I just want you to close your eyes, and I just want you to envision that this has happened. He played along because he loves it. He loves me. He's nice to his dad. I could watch his demeanor change. I could watch his physical posture change. And that's important, because what happens when he gets out on that course, he does get shoved, something happens, there's no water station or something. They're just random things, right? You're running, somebody kicks up dust, somebody spits, and he gets on you. He's had that happen. People spit Gatorade on him. Just the unexpected happens. There are accidents for a reason. Well, instead of instantly all those negative thoughts coming to his mind on the race course, where did they come to his mind? They came to his mind at the office. And then I said, okay, but you didn't let me down, because you've literally done your best. Like, he's worked really hard. He's done his best. I'm proud of him regardless of how he runs his important race. How's your team going to feel? Well, they're going to be pretty disappointed. So they are going to be disappointed. Had you not done well at his other race, maybe you guys wouldn't be there. Maybe it would look different. I don't know, because I don't want to put more pressure on him. And then all of a sudden, you could see, and I wish I could have recorded it. I don't want to record the conversations with my son, but I wish you could see it. The posture suddenly changed, and he goes, well, I guess I get an early start on next year's practice. Do you see? And if you could have seen the posture change, this would get you excited. So I'm trying to explain it to you, third person, after it happens. Suddenly, all the pains, he realized life would go on. Yeah, his team would give him a hard time. If he got hurt, his team would feel bad. If he just ran bad, they'd feel bad. They'd be disappointed. Suddenly, all those emotions, all the negative emotions that first hit him, see, if his posture changes sitting in my office, his posture is going to change when he's running, right? If his breathing is interrupted here, imagine what the interruption would be. So now we've had a 3-minute conversation. How much distance is he covering in 3 minutes on a racetrack that's taken away? He's lost his gait. He's lost his rhythm. All those things, heightened emotions, lost energy, misused energy, off pace, ahead of pace. All those are implications of the emotions being dealt with at the wrong time. Radical acceptance has a powerful, powerful use when we use it correctly. If we can look at the negative to look at change. So what would happen? Like, his posture changes. Like, well, I just start training early for next year. When we look at our worst idea of failure and we stare it directly in the eye, we can start to change how we view ourselves through that invisible failure. It hasn't happened yet. You don't know if it's going to happen, but you know how many people give up on dreams, give up on things, give up on relationships, give up on all kinds of things because of perceived failure. It's high. It's high. Okay, let's just call me out. Since now my browser's working, let's look something up, completely random. I'd be willing to bet you right now there's a large portion of people that give up on dieting or give up on going to the gym just simply because they don't want to go to the gym because they feel too fat or they feel too out of shape to go to the gym. What do you want to bet? How many people stop going to gym because they feel too unhealthy? So they have a perceived failure that then impacts their future, and they won't face the change. See the connection to the title tonight? Study conducted by OnePoll in conjunction with Isopure examined the fitness habit trends of 2,000 Americans and found that 37% of those who have never worked out think they are too unhealthy to even start exercising. This episode is for 37% of the people with gym memberships. Think about that. Think about the power of this. So maybe you're in that boat. Let's just change focus a little bit. Maybe you're in that boat. Let's apply it to this. This is just completely random. I decided to not have a script. I was tired of reading the script. I just felt like so mechanical. Didn't feel conversational. So what would you think? Put it in the comments. You're watching this. Whenever you're watching it, put it in the comments. What do you think would be facing a failure to make a change, to embrace a change? In the context of somebody going to the gym, what would be something you tell them? You're already unhealthy. That's why you got the gym membership. You already know that. But you're embracing the unhealthy more than embracing the change. Why? Because you see this visible barrier on health. It's impossible. No, it's just slow. And it's hard work. It's fun and easy to get unhealthy. Let's be honest, it's fun. They don't put 37 flavors of ice cream in front of you because it's daunting. Right? Oh my goodness. If I had 37 flavors of shakes, people would get exhausted in a presentation. People get 37 flavors of ice cream. People are like, this is fun. I could do this all night. It's easy. It's easier. So what's a perceived? What's a perceived pain? Embrace what? The change. What do you want life to look like? What's the advantage of losing weight? What's the advantage of going to the gym? What we talked about 3 episodes ago. Attach it to an emotional hook. If you're going just simply to be healthy, you haven't found the right hook. What would be the imminent failure of you not going to the gym? Heart attack, continued obesity, loss of mobility, not being able to spend time with your kids, not being able to spend fun time with loved ones, maybe a worsening health condition, heart attack, heart disease, deterioration of the body, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, not being able to care for yourself, all those things. When you look that directly in the face, then you go, yeah, change can be a lot easier than those outcomes. Sometimes we have to really look at the failure of something to go, hey, that's really important, or there's no reason to beat myself up over that. Jacob was an example in running. That's no reason to beat yourself up if you have a misstep. You work through that emotion now. Working through the emotion at the gym. Sometimes you got to face that. This is the reality of today. Take a snapshot of yourself before you go. Just embrace what it is. It is what it is. You have to do it because the emotional hook of not being able to complete that goal is so overwhelming and so negative and so detrimental to the future you want. You have no choice. Good stuff. Radical acceptance. Now, we're going to segue into part 2. Part 2, sometimes, oh man, this is tough. This is tough for us perfectionists. This is where we get our feelings hurt. We have to lower our standard of perfect. Sometimes we got to lower our standard of perfect. And why is that? Why do we have to sometimes lower our standard of perfect? Because perfect's not attainable. Perfect isn't good. Perfect isn't good for everyone around us either, is it? We have to accept a realistic perfect. Oh man, I'm going to say the words good enough. I pull it up on the screen here. Here is 2 ways of evaluating things. If you're a perfectionist, or maybe you're Jacob, and you're looking at pushing yourself for the next race, or maybe you're that 37 percentile that feel too unhealthy to go to the gym. These apply to you, or anywhere in between. Maybe you have a business opportunity. Maybe you're trying to achieve something in your business that you've never done before. These things this is a great tool. Okay, I don't want to just talk about things. I want to put tools in your brain to help you evaluate before you get stuck. Stuck's too late. Stuck's terrible. All right. 2 ways of looking at things. 2 personality traits, and they're changeable, they're fixable. You have the maximizer over here. Over here, almost got me. I gotta move over. Man, I gotta move over. All right, I'll move my camera just a little bit. Oh, there we go. Maximizers. I'll read it with me. Exhaustively seek the best. Oh, you that are dedicated to winning and the bravado of it. Good for you. Compare decisions with others. Expend more time and energy, NASA, and unhappier with outcomes. So what we're looking at, there's 2 different ways to look at outcomes. Then you have the satisfier. Satisficers accept good enough. They don't obsess over other options. I really hope my wife is not watching this. I do not have a live tally, but I hope she's not watching this. I'm going to get text. Yes, I tend to be a maximizer. Surprise. Satisficers can move on after deciding that my wife is a satisficer, let me tell you. And they're happier with their outcomes. Wouldn't that be nice for you maximizers? Well, let me tell you why you want to be more of a satisficer in certain times and why you want to be a maximizer in certain times. And kind of the way those play out over time. Okay, I love this. Maximizers exhaustively seek the best decision. There are times when exhaustively seeking the best decision, the best is important. Fire alarms, that'd be a big deal. Home security, probably a pretty big deal. Insurances, probably want one of the best insurances you can afford in your bracket. That's when details matter. Heart surgeons, get where I'm going with this. But we put a lot of things into the maximizer bucket that don't need to be there. And we pay a bill. There's a cost from maximizer to satisficer. Do you see it down there? Happier with outcomes, unhappier with outcomes. When we're embracing change and embracing somewhere to go, we throw up a lot of hurdles. We throw up things in our way that do not need to be there. And this is one of the places that we do. We try to be a maximizer and have every little detail perfect. You can't. If you're that person that's going to the gym, it isn't always a perfect day to go to the gym. That's impossible. You're putting a barrier up between you and better health that doesn't need to be there. If you want to do something online, you want to start an online business, anything, absolutely anything. A maximizer isn't really reality for life things. Maximizers, they're good for heart surgeons. They're good for certain things. You probably don't need to spend 9 months deciding which Roomba to buy. If you're that person that obsesses over like details of vacuums for 6 or 7 months because you just need a vacuum, you miss the point that all vacuums suck. Just buy a vacuum. Make some criteria that are good enough. I got pets, it's got to do pets. I need a wand, it's got a wand. Consumer Reports got to have 4.7 stars. Those are your criteria. And it's got to meet a budget. That's it. That's all you need to buy a vacuum. You really, really, really don't need more. Now you might need some more because you have different specifics. Maybe you need the hard floor attachment. You know what I'm saying? Then you're bundling. But you don't always need a billion details. And so many people live in a billion details. The maximizer, they think by having a maximizer mindset, it's going to maximize the results. And 9 times out of 10, that just isn't true for real life situations. It's not. Now, when does that matter? High performing athletes, high performers, we all know, honestly, that if we toe a line on being a maximizer on performance to get the results we want, somebody that has been at the gym for 4 years and is trying to cut that last 2 pounds, and they've got to be a little bit of a maximizer in their goals, right? really, really detailed, really, really restrained, but they also have to be realistic. And it's probably going to take a different route for each person. Maximizers compare decisions with others. Oh, maximizers bog everybody down around them trying to make a decision. I know, because I used to be one. Get everybody's opinion, then I'd be frustrated because everybody's telling me what to do. When we don't obsess over other people's opinions, it is easier to be authentic in our decisions. In other words, if you go out and get 40 people's opinions on which diet you need to be on, you're kind of asking 40 people if you need to be on a diet. That's not a good place to start. Versus one or two, picking which one works based on 4 or 5 criteria for your week and just getting started and going to the gym. Follow me? Maximizers expend more time and energy. Stop doing that. You got 9 months to do a vacuum and you lost time with your family. You lost time engaging in stuff that matters. You spent 9 months looking for a vacuum. Satisficers. Be a satisficer. 9 times out of 10. Move on after deciding. Eventually my wife's going to watch one of these and my phone, it was going to explode and I'm going to die laughing. And maximizers are unhappy with outcomes. We want to build joy. If you can be a satisficer, if you can look for ways to be a satisficer, get out of the perfectionist role, ad-lib your YouTube instead of having a teleprompter, stop being a robot, happier with outcomes, so much more engaged in the world around you. Satisficing is a much better way to embrace change. Thinking through all the implications of that. You just watch an internal dialogue, like go through all the data in my brain. Satisficers can start faster than maximizers, almost always. Because a lot of times we use the maximizer role as an excuse to not start because we're seeking things that are impossible in a starting phase. You're just not going to feel super comfortable going to the gym the first time. You're building a habit. Eventually, you want to focus on having the habit, not how you feel during your habit. But if everything has to align, the stars have to be perfect, you're never going to go to the gym and you're never going to have the outcome you want. Obsession over the wrong things when Jacob is running is going to lead him to a race of however many minutes long it is, thinking about all the wrong things and what's going to suffer. Overall, it's going to suffer. If you want to start and you're stuck and you've got a fear of failure, look at failure as an opportunity to embrace the change. Look at the failure as an opportunity to embrace you where you're at in your journey. By doing that, you can free yourself up to start. When we get stuck worrying about all the details and the fear wall that we build, oh my goodness, what if I fail at this? What if I look dumb? What if I look like an idiot? We allow ourselves to start. When you can embrace that and you go, nah, it's really not going to be that bad. This technique will help you. Embracing failure in this way will help you. Radical acceptance can be a tool that you can use to help you embrace change by facing failure. Absolutely guaranteed. If you get stuck in details, if you get stuck in spending months and months and months and overanalyzing and overthinking, dragging other people in, getting worn out before you get started, you might be in a maximizer mindset. You might be in a maximizer pattern for your life, which doesn't allow people to join you, which doesn't allow people to help you, which doesn't exhaust the people around you. Finally, they're just like, just make a decision, I don't care. When we get in a maximizer mindset, we take the fun out of it for everyone. Take the fun out of it for ourselves, and we don't even want to start. We've already gone through the high of starting, decided it's impossible, now we're on to something else. You want to avoid that. You want to avoid that at all costs. Starting is an adventure. It's not to be avoided. Pack your bags. It's going to be fun. Start. Start. Satisficer is a great way. Put it on your fridge. Write it on there. Satisficer. Put it on your fridge. Put it on your computer. Put it on the dash of your car. I don't care where you're at or what you're doing. Put these things out where you can see them and say, hey, you need to not be such a maximizer. Now, if you're the person that just kind of goes through life and you're like, oh, it's always good enough. It's good enough. It's good enough. And you've embraced a life of meh. And you're like, man, I want to achieve something. I want to do something. Yeah, you got to get into the maximizer role. And you got to exhaustively seek your best. Sometimes we get stuck in the fear of failure and we just kind of have it's good enough because we're terrified of the failure. And we've got to push ourselves to go, no, I want to exhaustively seek my best. And you've got to push yourself to that end. Exhaustively seek it. That's a good place to get unstuck. I see that a lot. I get stuck there. I can get stuck in a mode of, well, last week's was good enough. If I just do as good as last week, it'll be good enough. That's not necessarily true. It's not necessarily true. It's not really going to motivate you. It's not going to really leave you going, man, I gave that my best effort. We can use these terms to push ourselves in and out of these roles in a more accurate way. There's times for both. There's importance in both. But you can't live every decision in one column. That's what we want to use this list for. We want to use it to push ourselves when we're stuck. We're stuck accepting good enough from ourselves. Okay? You need to have a diet. You need to get to the gym. You need to do what you need to do. You need to push yourself to give yourself the best. You need to honor your commitment to yourself and give yourself your best. There you need to step up and spend more time and energy preparing your meals ahead of time. You need to start doing those things. Looking for recipes during the week so that you can meal prep and go to the grocery store on Saturday. Meal prep on Sunday so everything's still fresh. You know what I'm talking about. Sunday, Monday, it doesn't matter. Don't pick it apart. It isn't just good enough. You're not going to want to eat wilted lettuce on Sunday that you still have in the fridge. It won't be good enough then, and then you just go get a cheeseburger. I know. When we use these tools, these terms, we can stop getting stuck in the ways that we look at things. Super awesome. What's always blows my mind about motivation and the way we think about things and building our belief is how moldable we are if we don't always believe ourselves. We want to challenge ourselves and not believe everything we tell ourselves. If you tell yourself you're too unhealthy, 37% of people tell themselves they're too unhealthy to go to the gym. The problem wasn't that they told themselves that. The biggest problem was they believed it. 40% of people shouldn't believe themselves. Addressing the right problem. Maximizers, satisficers. That's what this does. It helps you address the right problem, the right hurdle. Knowing the actual problem, knowing the real problem. You see it in boardrooms, you see it in meetings, church, wherever. There's a problem, and then you get in the meeting, and everybody just guesses what the actual problem is, and then within like 10 seconds, everybody's got a solution for the problem. They don't even know if it's the right problem. We do that in our heads too. Do that exact same thing in our heads all the time, and we miss the mark. We miss the commitment to ourselves. We miss the satisfaction of finishing something. Use these terms to help get unstuck. Use these terms, write them down, put them on sticky notes. It's good enough. Don't obsess over other options. You can make each one of these a sticky note. If I make this decision, can I move on after deciding? If you actually have to commit to that, you've got a cycle of being a maximizer. Probably 3 people around you right now would love to give you that sticky note. Wouldn't you love to be happier with your outcomes? Absolutely. Good stuff. That concludes week 10. That was awesome stuff. Awesome stuff. All right, housekeeping for this week. We have a book club starting next week. Pull up calendar. We have book club starting on the 19th, Thursday, on Twitter Spaces. Go to Twitter, at The Belief Hero. Find out about book club. We are diving into thinking clearly. Or clear thinking. I don't know. I don't know if I'm dyslexic sometimes or what my problem is. I call the book the opposite of what it actually is every single time. I don't know why I do that. Okay, hold on. All titles. There we go. Hold on, let me pull it up. We are starting with, come on, camera. Clear Thinking by Shane Parrish. Next week on Thursday, Twitter Spaces. Go to Twitter. You'll see the time. It's going to be in the morning, Mountain Time, 10-ish. Like I said, go to Twitter. And then we have the Men's Accountability Group starting on the 16th, Monday, October. Super excited about that. And that will be on Facebook. So head to Facebook at The Belief Hero, and you can find out more information about that. And that concludes week 10. Show notes I will get posted for this show tomorrow, Friday. You can find those on the website. So how it works at The Belief Heroes, we're closing up. Go ahead and roll our outro here. Oh. All right, so how it works at The Belief Hero. Go to thebeliefhero.team. Log into the website. Super simple. It's a name and an email. It gives you what I call a back office. It gives you a member center. You can find show notes in there. They are free. We don't sell sharing show notes. None of that stuff. If you find something that's interesting in here, on the screen it says share with somebody who needs this. It is much more important that I get content to people that need it. And that makes me much happier than anything else. And that is what I'm doing this for. And in the back office, or your back office, the member center is Discord. It's a link to Discord. It will be on your member email, and it will be in the member center. It's a big giant icon. It says Discord. Discord is where the Belief Hero community, that's where we're building it. The goal is to get everybody over into the Belief Hero community on Discord. Why? Well, because that is where we post notes. That is where we will have book club information. That is where we'll have accountability group information. That is where we will put you in a group of people that are where you are. It's where we'll have the post show. It's where I'm going right after this. I'm going to Discord and I'm going to open up the post show, and we're going to dive into somebody's habits. We're going to dive into somebody's business. We're going to dive into somebody's hurdles. And in that, we are going to help them get unstuck. So we kind of take all the energy and the excitement of the show. We go over there and we do a post show and kind of hash it out, get some more specifics, more details that we can't do on YouTube because the chat's 30 seconds behind my speaking. And that is the housekeeping. Thank you guys so much for supporting the Belief Hero. Thank you for being here. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for being a part of it. Super appreciate you a ton. My family and I are appreciative. Appreciate you guys. And man, I just can't say thank you enough. Super appreciate it. Next week, Be Bold Hour. We'll see you there Thursday, 8 p.m. Mountain Central Time. Have a great night, everyone.